Welcome back to the Cycle 365. Today we got NBA preview. I'm Kodey Stauffer here with Simon
Villanos.
There we go. And we're going to be talking about the East, the Eastern Conference in the NBA first. And Simon and I are just going to go through a rundown of our lists. We're doing seeds 1 through 10. So you have 1 through 8 being the playoff teams, of course, and then 9 and 10 being potential surprise teams or teams on the rise. So I'll go ahead and go first. For the East, I have the Bucks as the 1 seed, the Philadelphia 76ers as the 2 seed, the Toronto Raptors as the 3 seed, the Indiana Pacers as the 4 seed, the Boston Celtics as the 5 seed, the Miami Heat as the 6 seed, the Brooklyn Nets as the 7 seed, and the Detroit Pistons as the 8 seed, with the Orlando Magic narrowly missing the playoffs, and the Atlanta Hawks as the 10th seed. Simon, let's hear yours and then we discuss.
Ooh, that's really interesting, actually. All right, so number 1, I have the Milwaukee Bucks. At 2, I have the Philadelphia 76ers. 3, the Pacers. 4, the Nets. 5, the Celtics. 6, the Raptors. 7, the Orlando Magic. 8, the Detroit Pistons. And then 9 and 10 is the Hawks and Bulls, respectively.
So you didn't even have the Heat
No,
in
I
your
didn't.
top 10?
I did not.
You know they barely missed last year.
Yeah, but...
And that was with an old man, Dwayne Wade.
Yeah, but the thing is, I feel like they're playing on a lot of emotion because they wanted, to get there for Dwayne Wade. So I know they added Jimmy Butler, but I don't think they'll be playing with that type of inspiration come the end of this season.
I feel like Jimmy Butler is good enough to get him there.
Potentially, maybe.
I mean, he can score from anywhere on the court, basically, and he's one of the best defenders in the league.
He is.
And in a weaker Eastern Conference, I don't see them placing behind the Magic.
Well, see, the Magic, what were they, the 7th or 8th seed? They were the 8th seed, actually, right?
Yeah.
In last year's playoffs. They probably should have secured that playoff spot a little bit sooner. I watched a lot of Orlando Magic highlights, and there's a lot of them between Aaron Gordon, Fournier, obviously they got Vucevic back. But they have a good little young squad there, and I like them a lot, actually. I think all of them are going to take a step forward, because they're all playing with a lot of pride, I guess. They're tired of losing. They want to get better.
They don't have any three-point shooters.
They have Fournier. Evan Fournier.
Oh.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm thinking of someone else.
Yeah. They have Evan Fournier, yeah. And he's only 25, which is crazy, because I swore I thought he was a lot older than that.
He's only 25? That's surprising.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. I just don't see them being better. This Heat squad was really close to making the playoffs last year, and I feel like they only got better with Jimmy Butler.
Yeah.
And they're also kind of in the market to make a move for Chris Paul as well. Still, even though the season is about to start, Chris Paul isn't going to end the season on the Thunder. I believe that 100%.
No, that's fair. I think if they were to get Chris Paul, I would, they'd be in the playoff race for sure. But I don't think Jimmy Butler could do it all by himself. He doesn't have Hassan Whiteside anymore. They've lost some, I'd say, key role players. Honestly, I don't know. I don't believe in the Heat this year. And I think in the next couple years they'll be better, but not this year.
They're a very well-ran organization with high standards, though, and that's why I think that the Heat will be able to make the playoffs.
They always are. I mean, I don't doubt it that they could potentially make it. I just don't have them. As of today, October 21st, 2019, I don't think that the Heat have, the star power and the talent to make it there right now.
Well, we'll just have to see on that one, huh?
Yeah, we'll see. Who's your 1 seed again?
My 1 seed was the Bucks.
Oh, okay.
Your
sweet.
1 seed was the Bucks. We were the same on the 76ers being 2.
Yeah.
You had the Pacers at 3. I had them at 4, and I was going back and forth on it.
Yeah.
I feel like it all depends on what Oladipo looks like when he gets back.
That's fair.
If he returns in December, I think that they could very well be the 3 seed. But if he doesn't return until January or even February because of, uncertainty, and they don't want to hurt him for the long term either. They want to make sure that he's fully healthy because he's really young and he could be a franchise mainstay. So
yeah.
I feel like depending on how his progress is determines if the Pacers get the 3 seed or not.
I feel that. I definitely do. They did get Malcolm Brogdon, though, right?
They did get Brogdon,
Yeah.
and they just gave Sabonis a huge extension today.
That's a little weird, but
yeah.
I mean, he's a good young player, but I probably wouldn't have given him that amount of money.
I mean, cheaper than some of the other contracts we've been seeing recently.
That is fair. But yeah, I agree. I think the Pacers are there too. There are a couple other teams that could push them in and out of that spot as well. But I think they're a lock to make the playoffs.
Yeah, no, the Pacers will definitely make the playoffs. Where did you have the Raptors?
The Raptors are at 6.
6.
Which might be, in my opinion, it's a little bit high, even then. But
You realize that they made the playoffs like every year before Kawhi was there, right?
yeah, but they had DeRozan too, so
But Siakam wasn't the player that he is now.
that's true. But I mean, I like Pascal Siakam a lot, and I like the contract they gave him too, because he's grinded. He showed me a lot in the NBA Finals actually, but I don't know if the team around him could get it done.
I mean,
I'd
Kyle
say.
Lowry's still an all-star guard.
He's Kyle Lowry though. Come playoff time, we don't know what he's gonna look like.
But he's good enough to get the Raptors a higher seed in the regular season. Kyle Lowry's great.
Yeah, potentially. But we do have
This isn't talking into the postseason. This is talking postseason seed.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, honestly, I could see them go as high as 4, but that's about it, honestly. Because I mean, the East is weak in general, so like it's always like going like
And I feel like the Raptors have more star power than a lot of other teams. With Siakam and with
Gasol, he's there too.
Gasol, and Ibaka's there still, right?
Yeah, Ibaka's there.
Yeah, so they have some of the best big men in the East that are. I mean, Ibaka and Gasol can both shoot threes, and they're great in the pick and roll, which works out for Lowry really well.
Yeah, they are. I just, I'll have to see. I have to see how they respond to, not having Kawhi Leonard there, because he's obviously a top 3 player in the league.
Mm-hmm.
They're not going to be the same type of team. They're gonna show flashes for sure. I want to see if Fred VanVleet maybe has another set of progressions ahead of him, like if he will take another step forward.
I mean, it's all about being hot, and he was really hot during the postseason. I just don't know if he can sustain that for an entire season.
That's the
honestly.
thing too. Yeah, because I feel that way about Kyle Lowry. He's good, but I feel that way about Kyle Lowry as well.
I feel like
Sometimes he's there, so.
I don't know if you should put Kyle Lowry and Fred VanVleet in the same sentence, but
we'll see. Hey, those
don't
finals.
disrespect Lowry, my
I mean,
God.
honestly, those finals though, like there are definitely times they opted to have VanVleet in there instead of Kyle Lowry.
I mean, there were times where Lowry also took over the game for multiple possessions.
In the finals?
Yeah.
Like when?
I mean, there was one point where he scored like 8 consecutive points, and he was drawing fouls too and hitting free throws.
I think I remember.
And he's good on defense as well.
He's okay on defense.
He's better than VanVleet. Oh my God.
Well, okay, we'll have to see.
Hey,
Lowry's
audience,
also
make
up
sure to
there.
educate Simon
No, you could educate me, but I have
on
the
how
same
good
thing.
Kyle Lowry actually is.
We'll have to see. Plus, isn't he on the wrong side of 30? So
That's different in basketball, though.
what do you mean?
You use the wrong side of 30 a lot, but it's
I do.
different in basketball. Like, 30's the new 20.
I don't know. In basketball,
Yeah.
it depends the player.
Like, okay, he's 33. He was 32 last year.
We'll see.
Anyway.
It's hard. You gotta sustain it. That's the thing, though. Like he could still
I mean,
be
he was
good.
literally an all-star last year, so like...
I mean, he's been an all-star.
Yeah,
he's
for
been an
5
all-star.
straight years.
Yeah, but
I don't know what
the
Lowry
East
has
is
to
weak.
prove to you,
The East
but
is weak, all-star wise. We both know that.
it's still a big deal to be an all-star.
No, yeah,
Like
good for him.
Kyle Lowry, 5-time all-star, 1-time NBA champion, potential Hall of Famer.
Would he make? Okay, we'll see about Hall of Famer. But would he be an all-star in the West?
I mean, the West has Steph Curry and Russell Westbrook, so no.
We'll see. I could see them going as high as 4, but right now I think 6 is a solid spot.
All right. And where were your Celtics at?
See, okay, actually, I know I said the Raptors should be lower, but the Celtics, in my opinion, probably should definitely be lower. They're at 5.
I have them at 5 as well, and
Yeah.
I feel like that's a safe place to put them because they're just such a volatile team, and we don't know how it's going to pan out. Last year, they had really high expectations because Gordon Hayward was supposed to be healthy.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone was supposed to be healthy and on the same page, and then it just kind of fizzled out after sweeping the Pacers in the first round because I feel like chemistry was just a huge problem with this team. Do you think Kemba Walker can fix that, or does it not matter?
I'm going to be honest. The Celtics score was the reason why Team USA's FIBA team recorded its lowest ranking, I'm pretty sure, ever
Yeah.
in the tournament.
I mean,
And
it's
I'm
literally
holding
like
that
the
against
Celtics.
Yeah, I'm holding that against them.
And that's why
Come
I'm
on,
not.
dude.
That's why I have them at 5 because, bro, they literally had Kemba, Tatum,
Yep.
and Brown,
Yeah.
I believe. And did they have someone else from the Celtics or no? I think that might have been it.
Yeah, that's probably
Those are the three that I remember.
Yeah.
And if I don't remember the other player, well, throw some shade at them because obviously they're not worth remembering.
Yeah.
But like, and they gave Jaylen Brown a huge extension today, even though he averages like 12 points a game, which is insane. Like,
Yeah. Maybe they know something we don't, though. Maybe.
that's what we thought last year.
Yeah, but it's a little bit less crowded, like you said. So we'll
And
have to see.
Horford's gone too,
Oh,
so they
shoot.
don't have a big guy.
That's true. They don't. They have.
They have
what's his
Taco
name?
or Taco.
It's Taco.
It's
Taco Fall.
Yeah, but like
He's
we don't
not
know what he's gonna look
play.
like, and he's not a starter. So they have Bynes, I think.
Baines.
Baines. Yeah, that's.
We'll have to see.
I might move the Celtics below the Heat, the Nets, and the Pistons to the 8th seed. I don't know. 'Cause
Speaking-
I'm a believer in Brad Stevens.
Yeah, Brad Stevens.
Yeah, I'm a huge believer in Brad Stevens, and
Same.
I felt like the Celtics were supposed to be the Spurs of the East, but that didn't happen. So no love for me other than believe in their coach. That's about it.
No, same. We'll just have to see. I think I'm being really honest here. I think 4 might be the highest spot I could see them go.
I feel like 5 is the high. Well, here's the thing: is like I feel like they could be as high as a 3, or as low as a miss the playoffs.
Yeah.
Like,
See, that's the thing, though. That's why.
I don't know. I have no idea what to expect. Like, is Jason
Exactly.
Tatum trash or is he good?
Exactly. He might have just been hot for that one playoffs against LeBron, and then.
I mean,
LeBron
still lost.
crushed his
So
confidence. But anyways, you mentioned the Nets. Where did you have them again?
I had him at 7
Ooh.
because Durant's not supposed to be back till later in the season,
Yeah,
if
February.
at all.
No, he's gonna be back for sure. That's what I heard. Like around February or April.
Which is a good time to have him back, but I don't know if they'll. And like theoretically, right? Kyrie's an upgrade over Russell.
Yeah.
So I mean,
believe
we'll
so.
see. I feel like the East. Okay, as much as the West got better, I feel like the East also got better. Especially if like
Yeah.
Oladipo's coming back for the Pacers, and like if the Celtics solve chemistry issues.
That's
know.
fair. I had the Nets at 4, and I think they might rise too, especially with the addition of KD because, Kyrie, he's been disrespected a lot, and usually it's been disrespect that he deserves. But I think he has something to prove. I really do. Because if this doesn't work out for him, then he basically becomes like the Antonio Brown of basketball.
Well, I'd love to be wrong about Kyrie, and I was like trying to defend him like hardcore too last year.
Yeah.
But then he just kept going out and putting up duds. And it's
Yeah.
like, well, shoot, I can't defend you if you're being bad, dude.
No,
And
exactly.
he was definitely part of the Celtics problem as well.
He was.
Not the solution.
He definitely was, but I think this Nets team is better built around him than that Celtics team. Like you have a really good, like role players on the Brooklyn Nets.
Well, and you realize the Nets play like the most ISO ball in the NBA, right?
Yeah.
And that's where Kyrie should excel.
Oh yeah.
Because he can, I feel like offensively, well, there's no one who can defend him one-on-one
No.
in the league
When he's healthy and right.
when he's healthy in the zone.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like he's more unguardable than even like Steph. So,
That could be debatable, but yeah, no, I feel that too, and I think Jared Allen, he's a young center over there. He's gonna take a step forward.
oh, absolutely.
They got DeAndre Jordan, who's a pretty good, center to have off the bench. That's actually really good, in my opinion. And then, you still got Karis LeVert. I mean, I guess they lost Jared Dudley, but
God, screw that guy.
I know you.
That guy's an idiot.
But they lost Jared Dudley. Oh, but they have Spencer Dinwiddie, who I feel like he's gonna complement Kyrie a lot better than most people.
They have a great core there, and
Yeah.
I guess this 7th seed that I have him at is more of a testament to Kyrie than anything.
Okay.
But I hope that he proves me wrong, and I feel like they could be as high as a 2 seed.
That's
honestly.
fair. I could see that too. Yeah, but with KD and I don't know how KD and Kyrie are gonna work together.
I feel like
I'll
it'll
be
be
honest.
fine. It'll be like LeBron and Kyrie. Yeah. Now, KD's not as much of a passer, but
KD, God, he's the guy that you could honestly troll them. Like you could get under his skin so easy. Like,
Yeah,
oh my
because
gosh.
he's a sellout,
exactly.
cupcake baby burner account having.
All right. Well, you're an OKC fan, but anyways.
I'm not wrong.
Yeah, but like, see, for those reasons and like the fact that he has thin skin, I don't think he's that good of a leader because of that. I really don't. And I don't think Kyrie is that good of a leader either.
I mean, he always be talking smack too when it don't matter. Like, he went on record saying you'd be surprised on how the finals would have ended if he played. But it's like, okay, woulda, shoulda, coulda, drama queen. Like,
Yeah, well, if KD's not careful, he might turn into the Antonio Brown of basketball soon here. But anyways, moving forward.
okay, you said the Hawks as like a 10 or 9 seed, right?
I did.
You had him at 9?
Yeah, I had him at 9, actually.
Okay, and the only difference from that is that you didn't have the Heat in your top 10. But I really like this Hawks team. They're really young. Trae Young started to progress a lot last year.
Yeah.
He started off really rocky, but he really picked it up, and he's exactly what he was slated to be coming into the NBA. He was a great distributor.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know who else was scoring points off that Hawks team, but he had a ton of assists. So
John Collins.
This is true, and they have a great young core, and I feel like they're going to be on the rise for sure this year and in upcoming years especially.
Yeah, I believe it. I love the Cam Reddish pick. I thought that was fantastic because he struggled a little bit at Duke, but he's still a talent. Like he could be real good for them. You know, I see a lot of, not like playing style wise, but like just history wise, I see a lot of like a young Russell Westbrook and KD and Trae Young and Cam Reddish potentially. You know, so we'll have to see. But yeah, they barely miss out right here. You know, they're at
The
9.
Hawks better hope that it ends better for them than OKC.
Yeah, I think they have a good young squad to build around.
Yeah.
But this is it. Like, you got to build with what you got, you know? You got to get a good coach. I think they already have a solid GM. And then you got to get free agents to come to Atlanta, which shouldn't be as hard as some other places. But, yeah. Yeah, I have them at 9. And then at 10, I have the Chicago Bulls, just because they're another young team. I really like Kobe White. I really do like Kobe White. I think he'd be great. I love the hair, all that stuff, the swag. But, you know, I think they'll get pushed out because of their youth.
So I've edited my list just a little bit since we started this.
Okay.
Have you edited yours at all?
Nope.
All right. Well, all I did was I have the Bucks at 1,
Okay.
Sixers 2, Raptors 3, Pacers 4. And I moved the Nets up to 5,
Okay.
the Celtics down to 6, and the Heat down to 7.
Okay.
And then the Pistons rounding it out because, I mean, really it all comes down to if Blake Griffin's going to be healthy. And they also picked up Derrick Rose
Oh,
in the
yeah.
offseason.
They
So they
did.
finally have a point guard that's worth a damn
I mean,
if he stays healthy.
They have Reggie Jackson, too.
Yeah, the Pistons, they could be a team that could go as high as 6, but more than likely they'll probably end up 8 because they're not going to get a full season out of Blake Griffin.
Yeah, probably not. They're a playoff team, though.
Yeah, they're a playoff team.
They have just enough, you know, veteran experience to barely get in and then, you know, give some team a challenge.
Blake Griffin could be a top 20 scorer this season.
You could. I really hope Blake Griffin does well because I don't think he's been on the downswing, but it feels like he has from his Clippers days. So I hope he could, you know.
I mean,
get
that's
some
just the
of that
tragedy of moving to a smaller market, really.
Yeah, but I think the Pistons deserve a good team.
Yeah, and I've always liked Blake Griffin. He played at OU, so
Yeah, he's a good guy. Drummond too. So
he's paying a lot in child support.
that's
A
true.
lot.
Are you talking about Blake Griffin?
Blake
or-
Griffin.
Okay, well,
He pays like millions of dollars in child support. It's horrible.
that's how they get you. But anyways,
But that does it
and
for-
Derrick Rose too. I like him a lot. But go on.
Lots of likable players on the East. You said you didn't change yours at all, right?
No, it's the same.
So I changed mine up a little bit, but that does it for the Eastern Conference of the NBA. Coming up next is the Western Conference, where we'll get to talk about the Nuggets a little bit and just how stacked this conference is. Welcome back to the Cycle 365. We got some more NBA preview coming up. But first, Simon, with some breaking news.
So shout out to our boys, AG. They got suspended from work. They were supposed to show up at 6 a.m., but ended up showing up at 11:05, so they're late to 2 shifts technically. But yeah, they're suspended until November 1st. It's an inside joke.
We will update you on how the team progresses without them. But in the meantime,
We're going to be talking Western Conference, and we're going to do the same thing as last segment where we're going to talk about our lists, our seedings 1 through 10, 1 through 8 being the playoff teams, 9 and 10 being those who just missed the cut. Simon, please introduce us with your list.
All right. So number 1, I got the Clippers. Then at 2, Nuggets. 3, Lakers. 4, Trailblazers. 5, Rockets. 6, the Golden State Warriors. 7, the Jazz. 8, my Mavericks. 9, the Spurs. And then 10, this was a tough one, the Kings.
You remember how during the break you said that we weren't going to be so different?
Oh my gosh. All right,
This
just
is
go.
bad.
Just go.
So
It's
my
fine.
1 seed is the Rockets.
What?
2 seed is the Clippers.
Okay.
3 seed is the Nuggets. 4 seed is the Jazz. 5 seed is Golden State.
Okay.
6 seed is the Lakers. 7 seed is the Trailblazers. And 8 seed is the San Antonio Spurs, with the Mavs just missing the playoffs and the Kings also at 10. So we agreed on the Sacramento Kings. We believe that they're a good team with young talent. They just locked up Buddy Hield for the next few years.
Yeah.
One of the best shooters in the game. And they're going to be good once the West dies down a little bit.
Yeah.
But other than that, these lists are completely different.
Okay, let's start at 1 then.
Okay, so I have the Rockets, and you have them at 5?
Yeah.
Are you insane?
Okay, so 5 is the lowest point I think the Rockets will drop.
That is fair.
But I could see 1, but not with the Clippers in this conference.
Well, I'm thinking back to last year, where even the Kawhi team that was well-rounded in the East didn't get the 1 seed in the East.
They were like the 2 seed though, right?
You know what the Clippers are on mine?
What?
The 2 seed.
Okay.
Because they're going to rest Kawhi, because the whole... Okay,
What about Paul George?
listen. I was in OKC last year, alright?
Okay.
And while he was like an MVP, sometimes he'd just be really cold during games. So, like, I feel like it's tough to watch sometimes. He'd just be putting up shots from, like, half court because he thought he could. And then, of course, we're not going to get the rebound when he's pulling up from that far. It's just like, Paul George is going to be great on the floor with Kawhi. But they're not... I feel like if the Clippers are smart, they're going to rest both of them throughout the regular season to make a postseason push.
Okay.
So I feel like that's what would put them at the 2 seed rather than the 1 seed.
But
If
you
Doc
could see
Rivers
them at
is
the
smart.
1 seed though, right?
I can see them at the 1 seed.
Okay.
Here's the thing. I don't think it's a big deal if the Clippers are the 2 seed. They don't have to be the 1 seed to win the West and go to the finals.
That's fair.
They don't even have to be the 2 seed. The Clippers could be the 6 seed and still go to the finals.
I'd be surprised.
They're not going to
Go on.
be a 6 seed. I want to clarify that. I'm just saying they could be a 6 seed and still go to the finals.
Okay. Okay, yeah, that's fair. But honestly, I'd be surprised if this Clippers team was anything below 2. Like, I think even with resting, they'll be still number 1.
I mean, you realize that they lost a little bit of depth, though, right?
Like who?
Gilgeous-Alexander was a great player for the Clippers last year.
I mean, they still got Patrick Beverly.
I mean, but he can't score the way that Gilgeous does. I mean, don't get me wrong, Patrick Beverly and Lou Williams are good, but, like, you know, Gilgeous-Alexander was, like, almost an all-star as a rookie.
Well, okay, outside of him, who else?
I mean, they lost Gallinari.
That's not. They got Kawhi and Paul George.
Yeah, I know they got Kawhi and Paul George, but I'm just talking depth.
No, I know.
Like, they're a lot more top-heavy than they were last year. The reason that the Clippers were so good last year was they were a team with a lot of depth. I mean, obviously, they got 2 all-stars to replace that depth.
Yeah.
But, you know, I feel like with how long the season is, that ends up costing you some games to be a bit more top-heavy.
But see, I could definitely see them winning games with, you know, a Lou Williams, a Patrick Beverly, and a Montrezl Harrell. And even in a how do you say his name? Ivica Zubac? Zubac. With that guy.
Good luck. That's all you.
Okay. Zubac. He was really good for the Lakers, but for some reason they traded him. And I think he's going to be really good for the Clippers. I think with that, like, you know, little core alone, they could win some games without PG and Kawhi. So, yeah.
They could win some, but they will lose some as well.
Yeah, but they'll, like I said, they'll also have PG and Kawhi. Like, they'll probably have to play maybe, like, I don't know, like, I would say 10 to 20-ish games at most without either one. And that's even, that might be
That's
a
pretty
little bit
high.
too much. Yeah,
I'd say 10.
yeah. But I
Without
think
Kawhi.
they could win at least 6 or 7 of those games.
Yeah, and we'll
Yeah, we'll just see.
Yeah. Okay.
The Nuggets, okay, I put them at 3 because I feel like this is the lowest they can possibly be.
That's fair.
I feel like
you're the Denver fan.
See,
so.
3 is the lowest we can be, but we could be the number 1 seed. And a lot of this hinges, if Michael Porter Jr. is good, we're the 1 seed in the West, and there's no doubt in my mind.
If he's good.
And additionally, Jeremy Grant is going to be phenomenal this year. For those who don't know who Jeremy Grant is, aka if you're not an OKC fan, he shot 40% from the 3-point line last year, which is amongst the best in the league, and he finally gives up some size to defend. Pause.
Pause! Alright.
Jeremy Grant, he's a great defender, and we're not going to get mismatched against the LeBron James or the Kevin Durant's whenever he comes back, because we just didn't have somebody who was big enough. But Jeremy Grant's like 6'7" with a 7-foot wingspan, which is basically the build of a small forward in today's NBA.
He's a good defender.
Yeah, so we've gotten way better on defense, way better at the 3-point line. If Jamal Murray's scoring over 20 points per game, like, there's no stopping us, because Jokic is already an MVP candidate. So, and that easily makes us the best team in the West. Should Porter Jr. be healthy, and should Jeremy Grant pan out. So 3
That's
is
fair.
I put them at the lowest because I wanted to be modest, but I don't disagree with you as them being the 2 seed, and I certainly wouldn't overlook them being the 1 seed.
Yeah, they could low-key steal that 1 seed if these teams aren't careful. They could steal it.
Well, I don't know if it's stealing if you were the 2 seed the previous year,
Well,
and that you only came behind Golden State and the Monstars at the 1 seed. So
that's fair. We'll have to see with that. Too bad they don't have our boy Jordan Davis to back up Jamal Murray, though. But
that's all right. Malik Beasley will do.
he'll do. Anyways, so I had the Lakers at 3, and you had them at like 6 or 5?
Yep, 6 is correct.
6? Okay, so where are your doubts with the Lakers?
I just think that Golden State and the Jazz are better.
Is that it? Like, you don't think there's any problems with the Lakers?
No, I just feel like Golden State, they're gonna have D'Angelo Russell, right, with Steph Curry, and Russell can score from anywhere on the court. And I feel like people forgot how good Steph was because KD was there. But like, this team went 73-9 with basically everyone that they have there still, except for like KD wasn't even there when they went 73-9. So like, that's still a really good team, and Klay Thompson's going to come back, and they're the Splash Brothers, so they're going to do well.
Yeah, but see, Klay's coming back around the same time KD is, so I wouldn't be surprised if he didn't come back during the regular season.
That's fair, but like Russell can still hold down the fort until then. And then you figure when Klay comes back, you'll have Russell potentially coming off the bench, which is a huge mismatch for any team trying to keep up. Plus, the Warriors are great at playing small ball, so even if they had 3 guards out there, it'd be fine.
That's fair. I'm more concerned about how D'Angelo Russell is gonna fit in with this Warriors team. I don't doubt
last
the
time
talent.
he was in California, it didn't turn out great.
No, exactly. But I mean, like, I don't doubt the talent. Like, it could be really good, but the Warriors did lose some depth. They lost Sean Livingston. They lost Andre Iguodala. They lost their backup point guard. Was it Quinn Cook? Yeah, to the Lakers actually. And that's a lot of depth to lose. And then obviously they lost KD and DeMarcus Cousins. So
well, KD, he ain't nothing. So
well, they still lost DeMarcus Cousins.
Well, they played most of the season without Cousins, so like.
Yeah, but then see, you gotta wonder who's behind that center, and then who's behind Draymond, and who's their backup point guard now.
Steph Curry.
Yeah, exactly. See, like that depth is lacking, which is why I have them at 6, like the opposite with the Lakers.
I feel like the 6 is the lowest Golden State can go.
No, yeah, fair. Like, I don't think they'll go lower than that, but I wouldn't be as surprised.
I have no doubts about this Lakers team. If they were past Golden State in the standings, I wouldn't be surprised. But I definitely want to see how LeBron does in year. What is this? 16, 17.
It's definitely over 16. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. So I mean, he can't be
the best forever. Is basically
No.
what I'm saying. And you can never predict when the drop off is going to happen. So we just got to stay tuned and then see if Anthony Davis stays in the lineup. Because both of those guys are going to have rest days as well.
No, that's a fact. But at the same time, LeBron, he had his first like full off season to rest because they missed the playoffs in like since his rookie year.
Yeah, so I think it's something dumb like that.
Yeah, that for LeBron. That's a lot of time. That's a lot of thinking too. How you're gonna destroy the league too.
Yeah.
So like, I think he's gonna come back and really feel like he has something to prove to people. Like he's gonna put on a show for LA more than usual this year.
And I feel like the Lakers definitely have some potential with Rondo and Davis. People forget that they were teammates,
Yeah, they were.
and they worked really well together. So like,
Yeah.
stay tuned for how that goes.
No, for sure. I don't doubt it at all. I think that'll be great. Really like Kuzma being there too. Dwight Howard has played better than expected in
We'll
preseason.
see what happens there. I'm not gonna.
Good old Dwight.
I mean, I've always liked Dwight Howard, but like, I don't know how he's gonna do. We'll see if he stays healthy.
Him and JaVale McGee are on the same team. That's
That is
hilarious.
some goofy
Yeah,
dudes.
That might be the team of Shaq and the Fool if they're not careful. So they gotta watch out. You never know. I also like that they picked up Quinn Cook.
Where did you put the Jazz?
I had the Jazz at number 7.
What? Where's the? You know that they've been like the 4 or 5 seed for like years, right?
Yep. I doubt Mike Conley. I think he might take a step back. It won't be super drastic, but with how competitive the West is, I think I could see them dropping to 7, potentially maybe even out of the playoffs if they were to get hit with an injury bug.
That's any
So-
team.
No, if the Lakers
That's any team not named the Clippers or the Nuggets, basically.
if the Lakers got hit with the injury bug, I don't think they'd drop out. Or the
If LeBron
Trailblazers.
got injured, you think they still make the playoffs? If he missed 20
Yeah.
games?
Yeah.
Because people thought that could happen last year and it didn't.
Yeah, but like Kuzma isn't Anthony Davis and Brandon Ingram isn't him either. Or Lonzo. So
I think if Anthony Davis misses 30 games, that the Lakers can make the playoffs?
Sorry, you said 30 games? 30 or 20? You said 20.
30
with
for
LeBron.
Anthony Davis.
Oh, 30? Why is it more with Anthony Davis? No, I don't think they
Because
would.
he's soft.
Okay. I don't think they would make the playoffs then. Because LeBron's used to carrying teams and making them go to the playoffs.
I don't know. I feel like Mike Conley is a great addition. He's definitely an upgrade over Ricky Rubio.
But like, who do they have outside of Connolly?
Donovan Mitchell, Rudy Gobert.
No, at point guard.
At point guard?
Yeah.
Well, Ricky Rubio was the only point guard last year, and they were still a 5 seed.
But who's the backup point guard for the Jazz?
I don't
if
know,
Conley goes
but I couldn't
down?
tell you that last year, and they were still good. Is the point I'm trying to make.
Yeah, but like, see, Conley's gonna be a bigger part of this team though. So if they fall, then like it does take some time to learn, like, relearn the offense and all that. Donovan Mitchell is a young guy. Gobert is a relatively young guy as well. So like it's hard to get used to playing that way again. There might be a learning curve there.
I feel like Mike Conley's going to be fine. He's kind of a veteran. Plus, their backup is Emmanuel Mudiay.
You believe in Emmanuel Mudiay?
Well, no, but he doesn't have to carry this team.
Could he put in the same type of work as a Mike? Could he put in 3/4 of the same type of work as a Mike Conley?
I feel like Emmanuel Mudiay could be just as good as Ricky Rubio, just without a 3-point shot. But like,
He could pass just as good as Ricky Rubio.
yeah, sure.
Okay.
Dude, Ricky Rubio's
I don't
really not
know.
that good. I've never believed him. So like,
I know you haven't, but he's a solid player. I don't.
watch, you're about to tell me that Rubio's better than Lowry.
He's not, but
There you go.
it's pretty close.
No, it's not.
If Kyle Lowry isn't careful, it's pretty close.
No, oh my God. Get
It
off
could
of Ricky
be-
Rubio
No,
right now.
I'm not. Hey, Ricky Rubio's a good player.
I feel like
At
he was
least-
holding the Jazz back.
Is he?
Conley is going to give the Jazz the extra push that they need.
We'll see. I think 7 is a good spot for them. I don't see them going higher than a 4, maybe 5. So, yeah, that's that.
You
But
had
hey,
Golden State not Golden State, Portland up pretty high.
yeah, I did actually.
Where did you have them?
I had them at 4.
I think they're pretenders.
What? What? Is it because you don't like Damian Lillard because you're an OKC Thunder fan?
That's not
See,
the
you're
point.
you're
That's
laughing
not
right
the,
now.
No,
Oh,
that's
you're
not the
laughing.
point. It's just, I feel like they got really lucky going to the Western Conference Finals last year. I was at that Game 7 against the Nuggets, and we missed 13 consecutive three-pointers. Like, that's just unlucky for the Nuggets and lucky for Portland.
Well, that's Denver's fault. It's gonna happen.
Well, I'm just saying Portland got lucky to advance in that series.
Okay, but they did add a good role player in Hassan Whiteside, and I believe in him. I think he'll be a force with Nurkic, with all them boys there. You know, you still got Dame, you still got McCollum. I think this might be a sneaky good team here.
I just don't know if they can put it all together.
Okay, well that's
I mean,
fair.
they've had like the same few players for a few years now, and nothing's happened. I remember when the Pelicans swept them.
Okay.
You know how sad that was?
Yeah, but they were really young back then.
No, they weren't. That was 2 years ago.
Okay, still, that
Like,
2
what?
years is a long time in in an athlete's like mine. It really is. You know that too.
I know that. I don't know. I'm not convinced. And then they got swept by the Warriors, so like...
Well, everyone gets swept, beat by the Warriors.
The Clippers didn't.
Okay.
Are you trying to tell me Lou Williams is better than Dame?
No, he's not. You're saying that. I'm not. I believe in Damian Lillard. I think he's gonna break more hearts this year of other fans. Pause.
Why you gotta say it like
Well,
that?
he is, because I know he broke yours, because you witnessed it.
Lucky
first person.
shot. Lucky
Yeah,
shot.
Okay. But, yeah, I believe in the Trailblazers.
And he shot it over sorry Paul George, so...
Well,
Playoff P, baby. Yeah, he's trash in the playoffs.
Well,
The Clippers are going to have to lean entirely on Kawhi.
well, that's what the Raptors did. I like the Trailblazers. They're a sneaky good team.
And then the one big disagreement we have is you have the Spurs at 9 and I have them at 8.
That's not that big of a disagreement.
And you have the Mavs at 8
It's not
and I
that
have the
big.
Mavs at 9. No, it's a big disagreement because you were smack talking me during the break about leaving
Yeah.
the Mavs out. Okay, for context, earlier today in basketball class, I said that the Mavs could probably make the playoffs, but then I took a second look at the West,
Class.
and I just don't think... I can't bet against Popovich. That's foolish. Who's the
can't.
Mavs head coach?
Rick Carlisle? What do you mean? Who's the Mavs head
Not
coach?
Popovich is the answer.
Okay, there's a lot of coaches that aren't like Greg Popovich, but Rick Carlisle is as good as any coach. He's a top 5 coach in the league. Yeah, name 4 other coaches better than Rick Carlisle.
I'm gonna say Mike Malone, Steve Kerr.
No, Mike Malone.
Yeah.
No,
Mike Malone, Steve Kerr,
Yeah, where's his
Doc
ring?
Rivers. When did Rick Carlisle win his?
What? 2011?
That's eons ago in athlete
Okay,
years, Simon.
well, that's not his fault that Mark Cuban keeps signing veterans to keep us competitive. But anyways,
And okay, as I continue on my list of coaches better than Rick Carlisle, Mike Malone, Doc Rivers, Mike D'Antoni.
no.
Yeah.
No, Mike D'Antoni, that guy only knows how to play offense. He's like his players, James Harden and Westbrook.
Westbrook can
Can't-
play defense, dude.
Yeah, they both
Greg
can.
Popovich. I feel like I just said someone else the
No,
last time.
What?
Get out of my face. Like your smug
Mike
look.
Malone.
I
Mike
feel
Malone.
like the Jazz coach, I'd probably say the Jazz coach better than Rick Carlisle.
What?
Dude, they've been good with no superstars for like a whole decade. So like,
Dog. But he doesn't have a ring.
yeah, that means nothing. That was a million years ago, and he had Dirk. So like,
So Mike Malone beat the Big Three, the Miami Big Three. Mike Malone beat the Spurs a good number of times before. D'Antoni beat the Spurs.
wow,
Where
you're
the-
like every other Dallas fan living in the past right now, Simon.
It's like 7 years ago, 8 years ago.
Oh, see, you can't even remember because it was so long
No,
ago.
it was 8 years ago. I
Back
just
when
can't
Simon
do
still wore
math.
PJs to bed.
No, I was a middle schooler. So
Exactly.
Weird. I think everyone wears PJs. Anyways, no, Rick Carlisle is a good coach, but let's move on from that because I don't think
The Spurs are the 8th seed.
Okay.
The Mavs narrowly miss it, and here's why.
Why?
A. Greg Popovich.
Is that it?
B. Greg Popovich.
Oh my gosh.
Plus, I feel like LaMarcus Aldridge is better than anyone on the Mavs.
No. He's better than Luka?
Yes.
He's better than Luka Doncic.
Yes.
The EuroLeague MVP, the Rookie of the Year, I'm not going to say it, but, probably the best athlete in Dallas right now. I was going to say something else. But, yeah, the best athlete in Dallas right now.
Aldridge has sustained his success.
So is
Who's
Luka.
to say Luka isn't going to experience a sophomore slump?
Dog, Luka, you realize that he literally came straight from the EuroLeague. Like, he played their full season, won the championship there, and then came and played a season in Dallas, like right after, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So he was fatigued, like extremely fatigued, because the EuroLeague isn't easy. And then, he has all this offseason time to get ready. He's in way better shape. He doesn't look super chubby anymore. Like, he looks like he's an actual, NBA player, like a man, And, he's gotten better. So you don't think he's going to take another step up? He was averaging 20 points.
I feel like he could take a step up, but Aldridge is a solid player who's been around for years. Plus, Aldridge and DeRozan as a combination, I'd probably take as of right now, during this preseason, then Doncic, and Doncic, I had it right the first time, and Porzingis.
I can't see it.
And I just don't know what Porzingis is going to look like on this Mavs team either.
Well, he's looked okay.
He's looked good in the preseason.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, he's looked good.
Well, he's shaking off rust too, but he's going to be rusty still. Because he's looked good at times, but there's other times where he just misses wide open shots.
And the Spurs are going to... They're not going to have that rust coming out of the gate.
Wait, why?
Because they're playing with the same team that they were playing with in the playoffs.
I don't know. I think the Spurs team is too old. I think this Mavericks team is really young, and they're gonna run him out the gym.
He says, "In with the new, out with the old."
It's gotta happen sometime. I think Luka's gonna take that step forward, and he's gonna be great. And Porzingis, he's gonna I feel like a lot of people have been disrespecting Porzingis for no reason, especially you delusional New York fans, because all y'all think y'all are right all the time. But anyways, Porzingis is gonna come back and he's gonna dunk on what's his name, RJ Barrett, and then he's gonna drop he's gonna win comeback player of the year or whatever it is in the NBA. Right. Easy.
Those are Simon's thoughts.
Yeah, I think both of those guys are gonna average double doubles. So there you go.
That's a bold statement, but
it's really not.
We'll see. We'll see what happens. I rearranged my standings once again following this conversation.
Okay. No.
All right. Well, I moved the Nuggets up to 1 because Michael Porter Jr. is going to be good.
See, bias, but that's fine.
I went and saw their practice. I know Michael Porter Jr. and you've seen it in the preseason too.
Yeah.
He's going to be wet.
If he
can shoot from anywhere on the court.
If he's there.
I mean, he is a liability on defense, but if he can score more points than the person who's playing on him does, and he can play power, small, shooting guard, he could play a lot of positions, I feel like, offensively.
Yeah, if he's
there. And then Jeremy Grant is the most underrated offseason move this NBA offseason. Period. Because he just gives us a way better defender, really, and we can actually defend small forwards that are huge. Plus, if we get rid of Will Barton, then we can really be dangerous. And then the Clippers at 2, they didn't move. I moved the Rockets down to 3.
Okay.
What is with the disrespect to the Rockets, by the way? What do you know? You have Westbrook and Harden in a D'Antoni system.
Why do you
What's
like
not
D'Antoni so? He's not that good of a coach.
They're gonna score so many points. They'll probably average 120 a game.
D'Antoni's system isn't one that is consistent or that could last, a whole season in playoffs successfully, consistently.
We haven't seen the playoffs yet, but this is just talking regular season.
Yeah.
D'Antoni's one of the best regular season coaches of all time. This is true. See,
I can't get over that you said he's better than Rick Carlisle, but even though he has no rings, but has coached twice as much as Rick maybe not twice as much, but at least a solid decade more than Rick Carlisle.
Dude, D'Antoni got Steve Nash 2 MVP trophies, so
yeah, how come we didn't give him 2 rings?
Because, okay,
Okay, I was about to say something really controversial. But anyways,
Okay.
I want you to realize Nash wasn't even scoring 20 points per game in those 2 MVP seasons. He maximized Steve Nash. So, like, so is it just bias against D'Antoni, basically?
He doesn't have rings. He's a good, regular season guy. He reminds me a lot of a Marvin Lewis, actually. You love that guy.
No, I don't.
He reminds me a lot of a Marvin Lewis, or actually, and a Mike Tomlin too. While we're on that topic, he reminds me of both of them clowns. Win a bunch of regular season games, but there ain't no ring, so it doesn't matter. So he's a good coach, sometimes, but
well, the Steelers, they won a Super Bowl with Tomlin. Basically as long ago as the Mavs won a ring with Carlisle. So
No,
so
that's not the same. The Mavericks have won one earlier, way earlier, 3 or 4 years.
Anyways, the Rockets are going to be good.
Okay, we'll see.
Westbrook is going to be good. He can play second fiddle. A lot of people think that chemistry is going to be a problem, but it's not.
I don't want to doubt the chemistry because they've played together before for a while too. It's just, I don't know. I don't know how it's going to work out this time around.
Well, it'll definitely be confusing when they both have 22 points, 10 rebounds, and 9 assists. Who's going to take the game-winning shot? So,
I was about to say some stuff that would trigger you, but anyways. All right, okay.
And then I moved the Lakers up to 4, the Jazz to 5, Golden State to 6, and the Trailblazers and the Spurs stay at 7 and 8.
Hey, by the way, this guy betted against me. No, he didn't bet against me. He betted against my Mavericks that we're not going to make the playoffs. So when we do, I expect those $5 pretty quickly.
But the question is, will you pay me my $50 for the Mavericks game that we're supposed to be going to, Simon?
Yeah, I will. Hey, I hope that covers protection too, because I'm about to go wild in Denver. Okay, maybe not wild, but if we win, if Luka dunks it on what's his name, Paul Millsap.
I wouldn't be surprised. Paul Millsap's a sorry player.
Oh man,
I can't believe we freaking kept him. That does it for our NBA preview. Lots of disagreements, lots of debates. Tell us what you guys think, either in the comments of Facebook or send us texts if you see us in real life. Just tell us, hey, your opinion on the Clippers is wrong. They're going to be trash.
Or the Mavericks. But,
Your opinion on the Mavericks is wrong. They're going to be last in the West.
Nope.
Just kidding, that's the Suns. Shout out to our boy Zachary Klein. That does it for this segment. We'll catch you on the next segment.
Alright, what's good, y'all? Welcome back to the Cycle 365. So here we're going to start a new segment on the Cycle where we honestly just talk about sports and then how that crosses with, society, social issues, politics, stuff like that. Because in my opinion, I think sports has a lot to do with that and, vice versa. So for this segment, for this very first segment, I don't know what we're going to call it. We're going to figure it out soon, though. But for this segment, I'm going to talk about Norm Chow and, honestly, just Asian Americans in sports. Because I realized last week on the podcast, I said that Norm Chow low-key deserves his head coaching position with the LA Wildcats in the XFL over Winston Moss. Now, don't get it twisted. Winston Moss, I think he deserves this. I've done my research on Winston Moss. He's been an assistant head coach for the Green Bay Packers for almost 13 years, actually. He started out as a defensive quality control coach with the Seahawks, Saints from 1998 to 2006, but he is not as qualified as Norm Chow to run this team. I'll just be real with you. I don't think he is someone that they want to run this franchise and start this franchise. And this isn't anything against him. I just don't think he has that experience. And it's not all about experience with this, because he is 53 while Norm Chow is a solid 73. But here's the thing with Norm Chow. He has coached a multitude of Hall of Fame quarterbacks and future Hall of Fame quarterbacks, and also quarterbacks who are very successful in college. He's coached them all in college. Has not had an NFL, well, he's had one NFL opportunity, but other than that, that's really it. So let me just name off these quarterbacks for you. Norm Chow has coached the likes of Jim McMahon, Steve Young, Phillip Rivers, and then for this part, these are all Heisman Trophy winners. He's coached up Ty Detmer, Carson Palmer, Matt Leinart, and then in addition, I could bring up a whole ton more athletes, notable players that he's coached. So this guy, Norm Chow, is obviously a quarterback mastermind. Every time he's coached these type of players, these quarterbacks, they've done so well, and they've performed, and they've put up numbers in college at least. NFL is obviously a different story, but it's different, and I think everyone knows that. But as a college coach, he is 73, but he got his first head coaching job with the University of Hawaii in 2013, which made him the first Asian American head football coach. So, for those of you who don't know, football has been going on for years, and I'm talking over a century. If we really want to pinpoint it, college football in itself is probably the oldest version of American football, and that's been going on since I'd say at least the 1890s. I'm talking the days of Rutgers, Army, all those older schools who really founded what is American football, what is American college football today. And the first Asian American coach got hired just in 2013. That was only 6 years ago. And with the University of Hawaii, that's not an easy position to hold. Because first off, your players are going to be battling fatigue more than anything. They could be talented, they could be all that, but man, it's hard to play for the University of Hawaii. They have to fly pretty much really far, farther than any other team. Honestly, probably either professionally or collegiately, in all sports. They have to fly really far. All Hawaii, sports teams, just because, they're in Hawaii. It's tough. It really is tough. To coach the University of Hawaii and to get people together. And then obviously, the culture there, it's I won't bash on it too much, but because of the difficulties with travel and all that, it's not that great. So it wasn't like Norm Chow was inheriting the best, honestly, the best situation, but, he didn't do well. He honestly didn't. Not as good as some other coaches that have been there. And that's fair. But before that, he is a qualified head coach. So Norm Chow, by all standards, is a pretty, qualified coach. If you want to have someone that'll, set the foundation for a young franchise and, league altogether. But he still got passed over. And the sad thing is that this was not the first time he's got passed over. And I'm not gonna act like coaches before having been passed over. I'm sure a Nick Saban or a Dabo Swinney or Bill Belichick have all been passed over for head coaching jobs. But with Norm Chow, this is almost normal for him, which is terrible. And it's almost normal because I'll just be honest. He's an Asian American, and everyone wants to believe that the United States is the land of the free, everyone's equal and stuff like that, but honestly, that's just not the case. And I'm not blaming that on Norm Chow not getting the head coaching spot with, the LA Wildcats, but it definitely plays a role. So, Norm Chow, he became the first Asian American head football coach in NCAA history in 2013, and that's a big deal. It says a lot about the state of Asian Americans in sports. And I'll get into, the whole culture with that, because for those of you who don't know, I'm an Asian American. Both my parents immigrated here from the Philippines, and I'm a proud Filipino. And, the culture is very interesting. But anyways, Norm Chow, he became the first Asian American head football coach in NCAA history. And I think as of now, he is the only one, actually, and doesn't even coach at Hawaii anymore, so there's that. But here are some experiences that, Norm Chow had to deal with. So he spent a good almost 30 years at Brigham Young University, BYU, back in the day, between, the 70s, 80s, and 90s, when they were very successful. That's where he coached the likes of, Jim McMahon, Steve Young, those type of people who all ended up being great quarterbacks in the NFL afterwards. But here's one of the reasons why he left Brigham Young University, BYU. First off, they just passed over him. So, they didn't even consider him as the head football coach for BYU after, the former head coach retired, which is crazy because this guy, Norm Chow, he's been with this program for almost 30 years, put in the work for them. He's coached teams who were top offenses in the nation, but they didn't even consider him for the head coaching spot. And that's pretty telling, I'd say. That's honestly pretty telling of a lot of things. I'm not going to accuse BYU of racism or whatnot, but it's just an example of, another Asian American getting passed over because you don't typically think of Asian Americans as, great athletes. So because of that, you won't think of them typically as great coaches because they haven't experienced it, right? And it's very disappointing that that's the way it is. And then, he got passed over once again for the Stanford job. A lot of teams that could have used Norm Chow, a lot as a head coach even. And it's crazy that happened. But, enough about Norm Chow. I said I was going to talk about Asian Americans in sports. And here's the thing. In my opinion, I've lived it as an Asian American. I do not think that Asian Americans are getting a fair shake in sports. And it's because of a lot of things. We're very underrepresented in all sports, to be honest. In America, we're obviously a minority. That's obvious. But you still see, other people of other minorities making it to the NFL. Like, for example, a Marcus Mariota, who's part Samoan. He made it into the NFL. Tua Tagovailoa, he's going to be there soon. Even, on the high school level, we got a DJ Uiagalelei. He's a five-star quarterback who has committed to the University of Clemson. Those guys, they're represented. I think Samoans and Islanders like that, they're represented pretty well. But Asian Americans, not as much. And it's not just football. But I'm going to use football as the example here. And here's why I think that they are underrepresented and not getting a fair shake. First off, it's the culture. I had Asian parents. I love my mom and I love my dad. Still do to this day. But, it's common for, Asian parents and, that whole culture to encourage children to not pursue athletics or sports. The biggest thing with that, like the biggest question they always ask is like, where's basketball going to get you? Where's football going to get you? And not to be stereotypical, but they usually push, other Asian Americans towards very high income jobs like being a doctor or an engineer or an athletic director even. Like when I told my parents that I wanted to be a physical educator and a coach, they're like, oh, well, that's cool and all, but you should think about possibly being an administrator or even a physical therapist. And there's nothing wrong with that. There really isn't. And, like I said, I love my parents. I appreciate their opinion, but that wasn't for me. And that's kind of the tone they took with me playing sports, especially football. Football was the biggest one because there aren't many Filipinos who have played football. So, or even that play sports in general. There's Manny Pacquiao, and that's it. There might be some, Filipinos here and there, but there aren't many. And I did my research on it, actually. There are a handful. Roman Gabriel, he was the first Asian American to, be a starting quarterback in the NFL. He played back in the 60s for the LA Rams. But that aside, they took that approach, that same approach, that cultural approach with, that's not what we do. You should focus on something that'll be more productive with your time. So basically saying that sports, it could be a waste of time. And, after talking to other Asian Americans, I think they would agree that that's kind of the tone they took on, like we love sports all the same, just like anybody else, but there is that pressure from family, like why are you wasting your time? You should do something better with your life because, the odds, they're just not in your favor. But see, the problem with that type of thinking is that if nobody's taking a chance, then there's going to be even fewer people that are going to make it in. You got to take a chance. That's it. So to all my Asian American parents out there, or even Asian parents, don't discourage your kids from playing sports. And I realize I'm biased because I am a physical educator and I value sports and everything that comes with it. But, don't discourage your kids from doing that. Because I think, with a dream, sometimes you never really know when it's for real. Like it takes time to realize like, all right, this is what I want to do, but it starts with loving the sport first, not, going in thinking like, well, like if I'm good enough, then yeah, maybe I'll play, or, like, I don't know, like maybe I want to, stay in school and do this and that, focus on schoolwork. That's a big one. But I think, if you really love that sport, you got to go after it. You just got to, and it doesn't matter who you are. You got to. Shout out to all my Asian American parents, my Asian parents as well, but you got to encourage your kids to play sports. Enough of this very old school traditional thinking like, oh, well, you could do better. Because I'm sure they can, but there's no shame in like showing effort in sports and pushing them to do something that's uncomfortable, because honestly, like, it can be uncomfortable to play sports as an Asian American. I was there, and I was just thinking about this the other day. I think this is really sad, but I have never been on a football team where I've been either discriminated against or talked down to because of my ethnicity. Like, I've heard all the jokes in the world, either from my own teammates or on the field, like it'll be all the different racial slurs and all that, all these things, like maybe you should go back to math class, or, they do the little slanty eye, like gestures, stuff like that. Like, I've heard it all, and as a kid, that, man, that fueled me. I was mad. Like, how are you going to make fun of me for playing this sport when I'm better than you? But at the end of the day, it feels like it doesn't matter, type of thing. So that fueled me a lot, and it's fueled a lot of other Asian American athletes as well. Jeremy Lin, he was arguably the number one basketball player in California, yet he didn't even receive a D1 or a D2, scholarship offer. He had to go play at Harvard. It shows that there is, a stereotype when coaches are looking for athletes. They count out athletes and all that, and it's a very traditional way of thinking. I'm not accusing all coaches of doing it, but it's part of of the sports culture. Like, you don't see Asian Americans do like sports and play it and be successful. Like, they might be, like the backup guy. They got to earn their spot like everybody else, but they deserve opportunities. And I do think to this day that there were many athletic opportunities that I was robbed of from, some of my coaches, because they might have not thought that, I had the genetics to play football long term. So why should they invest so much time in me, type of thing. And I know a lot of Asian Americans feel that way as well. It sucks. It really does. It starts with the family culture. I think that needs to change. I think you gotta start pushing these kids to go out and play, because if you don't, then nobody's ever gonna have respect for people like us, and it's a shame that that's what it's come down to, or well, at least respect in the sports world for people like us. That's just what I think. I think we gotta push these kids out to play just like anybody else, and then the coaching opportunities will come. It's hard to break stereotypes, but somebody has to do them. And that's just my opinion on it. Once we start pushing, like, other athletes like that, I think you will see a lot of change. I think you'll see more Asian Americans coaching. By the way, Norm Chow was the only Asian American football coach that came up when I searched it up for a good, a good couple pages of Google, I'd say, at least. Not many other people came up. Not many other head coaches came up, because obviously he is the only Asian American head coach right now, as of now, in NCAA Division I history, which is sad. I would love to see more. I remember, I still feel this way. I want to be the first Asian American Hall of Famer, like football coach, whether it be college, NFL, all of that. I think it's important for young Asian Americans to see that, like, hey, just because you're this ethnicity or race doesn't mean you can't do this or that, because nobody really wants to admit it, but stereotypes exist for a reason. You gotta push outside of your comfort zone sometimes, and you gotta do what you love. You really do, and that's just my little rant about it. I think Asian Americans, they haven't been given opportunities, and it starts with that family culture. But at the end of the day, it ends with coaches, and people in the sports community who consistently rob people like Norm Chow of like coaching opportunities or playing opportunities even. Like if they're robbing Norm Chow of coaching opportunities, then they're obviously robbing players of playing opportunities. Taylor Rapp, a safety for the LA Rams, he was one of those players. He is an Asian American, played for the University of Washington, and he's a fantastic player. But he was made fun of a lot for being Asian and playing, on the football field. And here's a story with Taylor Rapp. His dad was talking about how back in his sophomore year of high school, he went to the Nike Spark Combine in LA. Basically, this is just where they train. We're not trained, but like it's like a combine where they check out athletes from many different high schools and they start ranking them, so that college coaches, they could get a look at some of these high school athletes. It's a platform for these high school athletes actually to, put themselves out there, get some scholarships and stuff like that. And so with Taylor Rapp, he walked away as a safety with a 108.3 score. It was the second highest of all the high school participants there. And he was a sophomore. But yet, here's what Taylor said. They said they wouldn't even speck an eye on me. They would walk right past me to these African Americans and white kids who in their mind looked like football players. I didn't fit the stereotype. Sadly, it happened to Jeremy Lin. So it happened to him as well. It continues happening to other Asian Americans where, the football players Asian Americans, we don't fit, the stereotype of what a football player should look like, which is screwed up. And I've been there. Like, I've legit been told by a coach before, like, you're Filipino, your genetics, like, it doesn't bode well for you as a football player. Like, you're not going to be able to play college and all that. And, I'm not playing college, but it's not because I'm Filipino or my genetics didn't match. It's because, I had to take care of other things that came up in life. I had to step up as a man of the house. Football became a secondary thing and something that wasn't as important as my family. So that's why I quit. But it wasn't because of genetics. So I've been told that my whole life, like, oh man, you're Asian, like you can't play this, you can't play that, like why don't you go back to the math class, or why don't you be a doctor or something like that. And I'm sure Taylor Rapp was told that as well. I'm pretty sure he has been. And I heard a lot of these things on the football field, and obviously a lot of it could be chalked up to just trash talk in general, kids being young. But that shouldn't be an excuse. I think because of stereotypes like Asians can't play football or sports, it discourages a lot of Asians because they feel like if they do get into that, they'll be ridiculed. And yeah, they will, just like anybody, but like it's different. And man, I remember it was right before the draft, Taylor Rapp, he did a little video. Him and Hines Ward did a little video. They were kind of hyping him up. And Hines Ward, he's obviously half Korean, one of the best, Asian Americans to ever play football. One of the best football players ever in general. And he said, I've heard it. In the video, he said, I heard it, like Asians can't play football, this and that. But, you gotta show them different. And then I remember going into the comment section and everybody was saying, I have never heard that Asians can't play football, which is hilarious because here's the thing. Honestly, if you're white or if you're any other, ethnicity, race, all that stuff, like, you're not going to hear it unless you're an Asian American. It's one of those things where you have to be a person of Asian descent to hear that. It really is. It really is one of those things. And I believe that Asian Americans have just not gotten the opportunities to really show themselves out. I think for a long time, stereotypes have ruled how Asians are viewed in all sports, men and women, and in, like I said, all sports. I think it has. I already know there's a lot of people that may not agree with what I say, but these are just my experiences. Like, I've felt like that, at times, sometimes I'm not man enough to play, but at the end of the day, I know when I hit that field, I'm that dude. You gotta feel that way. And to all Asian American athletes who are aspiring to be, to go pro someday, you gotta feel that way as well. You gotta feel like you always have something to prove. Not just because, there are people that will hate on you in general, but people that will hate on your culture and your community and your descent, which is not right. They'll hate, I think it's more okay for them to hate on you as a person, but for them to hate on something bigger than just you, that's disrespectful. And I encourage all coaches and people who may be listening to this to, really stomp those ideas out. Like, don't joke about stereotypes like that. Don't classify a kid who may be Asian as a weaker athlete or as not as, a good an athlete as another one. I encourage you to push them just like you would anybody else. You got to, and show them that support, because most of the time they aren't getting that support. They really aren't. But anyways, that's the end of this rant. Thank you for listening. I think we're going to do this hopefully every week, at least, every month or so, just picking a social issue. It won't always be me. It'll probably be like Cody or Jesse or, somebody else for sure. But thanks. Thank you.
Welcome back to the cycle for this segment on the NFL. This is your sick and dying host, Jess Booten. Just came back from a hunting trip that was unsuccessful, but I'm ready to talk NFL. You guys ready to talk NFL?
Yeah, it feels bad, man. The Broncos getting thwacked by the Kansas City Chiefs.
I did actually get to see that game because it was on Thursday.
We all got to see that game.
Yeah. The Chiefs won 30-6.
With Matt Moore
playing
as
most
their
of the
quarterback
game.
for most of the game. And Mahomes is out for 3 weeks?
At least 3 weeks.
At least 3 weeks? Do you guys want to hear their schedule coming up? Because it's rough.
What?
Their first game is against Green Bay without Mahomes.
It's tough.
Their next game is against the Vikings.
Yeah.
Then they finally get a little bit of a break when they face Tennessee, and then the Chargers. Is the next 4 games. So, how do you guys think the Chiefs do without Mahomes for the next 4?
I think the only game they win is the Chargers game.
Yeah.
1-3.
I think they'll go 1-3, but I think that they might beat the Titans. Because the Chargers game is in LA.
It doesn't matter. The Chargers are actually bad.
Yeah, I agree.
Like, we all thought they were going to be decent, but they're actually bad.
They're not good. I know they're not good. I just feel like that's a series that usually splits 1-1. And if Matt Moore is their quarterback, then
I don't think it matters. I think that's how bad the Chargers are.
Yeah, so they're for sure going to lose these next 2 games. I'm pretty sure of that. Tennessee, that could be a toss-up depending on the day, honestly. Then with the Chargers, I don't know. Maybe they feel like we could steal a win, so maybe they could even win. But at the same time, I kind of agree with Jesse. They're bad. And I was just listening to the NFL preview, and we both kind of saw it coming. So it's not like it's a surprise.
I mean, they didn't make any changes in the offseason,
Facts.
and everyone else got better, so.
Facts.
I would say they got worse, too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just because of the whole Melvin Gordon thing.
They still don't have a line. Go for it. Go on.
Do you think the Chiefs are still the favorites to win the AFC West if they go 1-3 over this next 4-game stretch?
I don't know. I mean,
we've already decided that the Broncos are bad and the Chargers are bad.
Yeah.
You think the Raiders could?
No, I still think because Patrick Mahomes come back in 4 weeks and they'll win the rest of their games.
Well, after the Chargers game, so with Mahomes, they will face the Raiders in New England, the Broncos in Chicago, and then against the Chargers.
Yeah, so I think they can win most.
I was going to say they could probably win most of those games with Matt Moore. So.
Yeah, I still think they're going to win the division.
Yeah, I believe so too. Right now, the Chiefs are only 5-2. Raiders are 3-3, so that means, what is it? Chiefs they could still lose these next 3 games, and it will be a close, battle in the AFC West. So.
Yeah, because
the Raiders got smacked around by the Packers. Too,
yeah, I don't think the Raiders are. I mean, the Raiders might win 1 of the next 4 or 2 of the next 4, but still, in the end, I think Kansas City will come out on top.
Yeah, I think it's pretty obvious here.
This is one of the few times where we all agree on something.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right, actually. You're right, following the NBA preview. But
wait, we're going to talk about the Broncos?
Oh, how our season's over, like officially this time?
Yeah, we traded Emmanuel Sanders today as of this podcast.
Yep, we traded him literally today, October 22nd, for a 3rd and 4th round pick, and we gave up a 5th. John Elway continues to just
think he's doing the right thing.
And he never is.
Well, wait a second. Do y'all think this was a bad deal, or?
I think they could have gotten more value, not from the 49ers, but more value in general from the other NFL teams.
Like a second-round pick, like what the Patriots gave up?
I was talking to Cody today. I think what they should have done is given Emmanuel Sanders a second-round pick and maybe like a 7th for Cam Newton.
I feel like we would have had to package a first-round pick for Cam Newton.
I don't know. I think a second would be all right. A second Emmanuel Sanders? Like, they need a receiver.
The Panthers?
Yeah.
They got some young guns
Yeah,
over
I mean,
there.
but I think the veteran leadership would help.
No, it would definitely help.
It's
but
definitely
to give up Cam
the deal
Newton,
was definitely
that's a lot.
tailored for a playoff team,
Yeah.
though. So Niners, I know that the Packers were interested.
Mhm.
Maybe we could have finagled a second round out of them. But
You don't think that Carolina can be a playoff team?
no, I'm saying they're definitely in the mix because they are.
Yeah.
I mean, they're only behind the Saints in their division, and I'm pretty sure as far if the season ending today, I think they might be a 6th seed. but
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they would too. I mean, there's nothing wrong with Emmanuel Sanders, but the Panthers, they definitely have a young core that they want to continue to develop, give reps. So I don't think Emmanuel Sanders would have been as valuable to them as like a Packers or even a 49ers.
Well, I mean, Emmanuel Sanders is the best pass catcher on the Niners, not named George Kittle right now. Is that wrong?
I
don't think so.
It depends on the day, because Jimmy Garoppolo hasn't really done any favors for Dante Pettis, George Kittle, or Marquise Goodwin, which is why all their numbers are way worse than last year, even though Jimmy G didn't play last year, really. So,
Yeah, Jimmy G is still a huge question mark for the Niners. You know, he has as many total touchdowns as total turnovers.
He does. And they only scored 9 points against the Washington Redskins, which is, in my opinion, it's a red flag already.
Well,
I mean, it
in
was
their
really
defense, it was
wet.
terrible weather.
I don't know.
Oh, it was terrible.
No,
Did you see
it was
No, I
bad.
saw it, but like, if you're going
It's
to be
hard
that
to
guy,
pass in the rain.
but he's supposed to be that guy, though.
I don't think anyone's throwing for 400 yards in that storm.
Well, how many yards did he throw for?
Well, that is a very good question, but also, like, literally, it was so wet. Like, Mahomes wouldn't have put up Mahomes numbers in that weather.
I mean, I understand it was wet, but at the same time,
All right, he threw for 151 yards.
it's not impressive.
Case Keenum threw for 77.
That's Case Keenum, though. He's a backup quarterback.
This we know to be true. Broncos Nation.
Yeah,
So is Joe Flacco, though. So,
yeah, but I mean, still with Jimmy Garoppolo, I know the weather was bad, but at this point, for me, enough excuses for him. He needs to show me something. His team has literally been carrying him, and he's been dragging their team down, even though they're undefeated right now. So, if he doesn't figure it out soon, they could implode real quick. So,
yeah. It could be worse. He could be Mitchell Trubisky, who's wasting the Bears' good defense.
that's true. He could be.
He could be Mr. Wishy just wasting everything the Bears are.
Yeah.
Go back to that draft.
Everything.
Hey,
they
remember
want
when Deshaun Watson and Mahomes were both on the board?
And
Chicago?
they traded up
for
for a second round
Trubisky.
pick.
They traded up one pick.
Yeah, for Mitchell.
They went
Trubisky.
from 3 to 2 for that. And the Niners didn't even want him.
No, they didn't. It doesn't make any sense at all. But there are trade rumors that Cam Newton, he might go to the Chicago Bears or a Marcus Mariota. Those are the two I've heard a lot, because they both fit that Matt Nagy offense, and they could be very successful.
All right,
Anyways,
moving on,
forward.
Simon. What is the next game we're going to talk about?
All right, so we got the Ravens and the Seahawks. Lamar Jackson and the Ravens go into Seattle and come up with a really big win. They've been kind of skidding these last 2 weeks. I think they're on a 2-game losing streak.
No, they beat the Bengals last week.
Oh, sorry. Well, I didn't even count the Bengals.
Yeah, they're barely an NFL team, but I feel like
yeah.
this is a huge statement win for Baltimore, who up to this point didn't really beat anyone who was good.
That's true.
I mean, they had that first week where they just absolutely creamed the Miami Dolphins. And then, they beat a Bengals team that isn't that good. Then they lose to the Browns. So it's like, well, are they good? And they barely get past the Steelers team that's playing with backups and like a bunch of clowns. And it's like,
no,
well,
wait, that was. Oh, yeah, you're right. Sorry, go on.
yes, I'm right. The Steelers are a bunch of clowns.
No,
Anyways,
we're not,
so
but okay.
Hey,
The
better
Ravens
than the
don't
Broncos.
I know.
I wasn't going to bring that part up. But
Thanks,
the
Jesse.
the Ravens don't beat anyone good, and then they beat one of the hottest teams in the NFL. And I
Yep.
think one of the best teams in the NFL, including this Ravens defense that I believe struggled a little bit, managed to get a firm grasp on a Russell Wilson offense, which is
I didn't get
very
to see,
impressive.
but did what's his name play? The corner.
Which one?
They traded for
Oh, Marcus Peters?
Marcus Peters.
Yeah, he got a pick 6 on Russell Wilson.
It was
Already
Russell
paying
Wilson's
off.
first pick of the season.
Yeah.
Already paying off.
It is, yeah.
No, it's great because Marlon Humphreys is a lockdown corner, and so that gives Marcus Peters the freedom to be a bit more of a ball hawk.
Yeah, do whatever he wants pretty much.
Yeah.
But
Which is where he excels just because he's an athlete.
yeah. So here's the big question that everyone's been asking. Is Lamar Jackson right now an elite quarterback? And is he capable of bringing this Ravens team to a Super Bowl?
Well, I feel like elite doesn't come without like a few years.
Okay.
So like
Well,
I'm not
playing
gonna-
wise, just off of playing wise this season, that's
right now he's playing great.
Okay.
Like,
I would say right now he's an elite quarterback, yes. But
Okay.
he's all the craziness from the beginning of the season, like, oh my gosh, is he the MVP? I don't think he's the MVP anymore.
No, probably not.
I don't think he's the MVP, but I do think he's playing elite football.
Yeah. Also,
100%.
people keep talking about how many rushing yards he has, which is crazy, but nobody's talking about, okay, they're like, oh, he has more rushing yards by himself than like 10 NFL teams. Yeah,
Yes.
well, he also has more passing yards than 20 NFL teams.
Yeah, he's
So, like-
also basically a running back who can throw. So
I mean, he's.
But he could throw better than most, like a
Quarterback,
solid
no,
amount
but
of
I'm saying, like,
quarterbacks. Yeah.
that's why it shouldn't surprise you that he has so many rushing yards because he's basically a running back.
I mean, he's super athletic. And then, like, but no, I'm just saying nobody's talking about his passing,
No, that's fair.
which is ridiculous.
I mean, we all know why they're not talking about his passing.
But
See,
they should.
hey,
That's-
They should be.
yeah.
That's exactly what I'm trying to point out.
Yeah, they definitely should be. Lamar Jackson, he's been playing pretty efficient football, to be honest. Like, sometimes, he won't have the most passing yards, but, like, he doesn't have many turnovers, really, There's very few times
He has good
makes
touch
a lot
on his
of
downfield
mistakes.
passes, too.
He does.
And he's been doing that without Hollywood Brown in the lineup as well.
He
So
does, yeah. This was a
When,
big
when
win.
Brown comes back, that'll be huge.
Oh, yeah. It would be great. Did y'all see, that video of him mic'd up for when they went on it for 4th down and they scored a touchdown?
Oh, no, what did Micah?
So Harbaugh, he said to Lamar, he was all like, hey, you want to go for it? And then Lamar was like, heck yeah, let's go for it. And he was like yelling and get all riled up. And then he basically, I don't know if y'all saw the play, but he punched it into the end zone.
Yeah, it was
And,
like a quarterback power play.
Yeah, it was real nice, and he was all fired up. And I knew from then on, like, it was over for the Seahawks because he was feeling it. And, like, I really do love the passion he plays with and the chemistry with him and Coach Harbaugh for sure. I think, this is a solid Ravens team moving forward. Well, we'll take another look at them in the mid-season review of the NFL season. That'll come up next week. So,
And I believe the last takeaway, Jesse, did you have anything else about Lamar?
I did not. I didn't watch the games.
Well, I think the last takeaway from this week is the Cowboys winning the NFC East. Now, it's only week 7, but I feel like that was it. I mean, they didn't only beat the Eagles, they buried them.
they did. They
Yeah.
embarrassed them on national television.
Eagles are trash.
You want to know what's even more embarrassing?
What?
Who's their head coach? The Eagles head coach?
Doug Peterson?
Peterson.
Oh,
Doug
yeah.
Peterson last week said, we're going down to Dallas and we're going to win. And
You know what
everyone
they
was
didn't do?
Everyone was like, you should never say that because you're not going to win. And they went down there and got smacked.
Yeah, that's bad.
Everyone on the Eagles is literally so bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Their cornerbacks are so terrible. I mean, don't get me wrong, kudos to Dallas for blowing them out, but also like, gosh, they couldn't cover anything. Like they couldn't.
They couldn't cover Jason Witten because he kept converting 3rd downs.
But
And then
that's
Nelson
the big difference.
Aguilar is sorry.
Yeah.
Wait, what's the thing?
Jason Witten's been like that their whole career. They've been able to. He always picks up first.
Now he's like 1,000,000 years old.
But
and
he's,
they-
yeah, I mean, still though. Like Jason Witten was actually a really good re-addition to this Cowboys team in my opinion.
He was.
Yeah, with leadership and just reliability still, it's crazy. But like at the same time, the Eagles have players that could cover Jason Witten, but they weren't doing it well on Sunday. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I think is
They're
it panic mode for the Eagles? Are they done?
I was just about to say hit the panic button. We were just talking a couple weeks ago if they didn't beat the Packers, their season's over, and they just lost 2 games in a row. And, the Cowboys also get a bye week, so everyone that's been unhealthy for them is going to be, like, revamped and ready for the second half of the season.
Oh yeah.
Week 8 is a great time to have a bye week,
It
by
is.
the way.
It is. It's perfect timing for Dallas right now. Philly, on the other hand, they gotta figure it out, or they might not even make the playoffs.
Hey, remember when Doug Peterson said this is the new norm after they won the Super Bowl? I remember.
He's saying some pretty interesting things.
Yeah, he's a confident guy, but
Not backing it up.
no, he's not. Also, Carson Wentz hasn't been playing well, and I feel like nobody has called him out on it, but I am. He hasn't played well. He didn't look good versus Dallas, and yeah, their defense is good, but he was just really late on throws. He was inaccurate on a pretty solid end zone shot, and just he's been all over the place. He needs to figure it out because I feel like his team is slowly losing faith in him, as crazy as it sounds.
I also think that the Eagles need to stop running their mouths and start playing football.
Facts.
Because what's that linebacker's name that?
The one that got cut.
Yeah, because he said, oh yeah. He goes, Kirk Cousins can't throw the ball to save his life, basically. And then Kirk Cousins went out there and threw 400 yards and 4 touchdowns.
Yeah.
He got cut the next day. And then Kirk Cousins is on a roll right now.
He is. But you can't. I feel like that's screwed up because you can't cut a player for saying that or whatever when your coaches are doing exactly that.
No, that's what I'm saying. That organization needs to shut their mouth and play football.
Yeah, they're acting like Philly fans. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Philly fans be doing the most. You be acting like Philly fans. Act professional and play football for once. You're not going to have another Super Bowl for another 100
Shout
years.
out to EDP445. Check out his YouTube channel. He has great Eagles content.
God, Eagles fans. All right.
Well, that's basically the NFL.
That's the NFL.
It's like the highlights of the NFL this
Yep,
week.
that's it. Next week we'll come out with, like I said, a mid-season review of most of the NFL teams and divisions, and just go division by division. I don't know if we're going team.
And we're going to talk about how Jesse thought the Patriots weren't going to make the playoffs. Don't think I forgot.
Oh yeah.
But then I realized that they probably have the easiest schedule ever in the NFL. Not like this year, but I think they might have the easiest schedule ever scheduled in NFL.
This and more
Next week.
All right.
Also look out for me and Simon will do a mid-season mock draft.
Oh yeah.
So
for college football, we didn't talk about it this week because nothing really happened.
the
Oh,
only,
Wisconsin.
the only thing
Yeah.
is Wisconsin lost. Pretty big because they were a playoff team and they lost, but
It was coming though.
yeah.
Yeah, it's fine. We'll come next week. We'll come back with more. Also, the Cycle 365 is now on
Spotify.
This is true. Also, Facebook, YouTube. We post to Instagram, Twitter. We're on all the social medias. Cycle 365.
Yeah.
Also, I mean, these are pretty obscure apps as of far, but we will be on Google Podcast. It's a new app that's coming out pretty soon here, as well as Radio Public, which, I mean, it's already on Radio Public, and then Pocket Cast as well. So
tell your friends to listen to them.
We are everywhere.
Easier than ever to listen to them.
Accessibility is not the excuse. Listen to the cycle.
yes, it's all downloadable now, which I feel like it was one of the biggest.
Oh, good.
Yeah. It only took 9 episodes, but here we are. All right. Thank you for rocking with us. We'll catch y'all next week.
Hey, can we end with like a group high five over the mic? Let's try it. Let's.
Literally, we could all just high five, and it was
Let's just. Yeah.
Why'd we all miss?
Yes, we did
That's
miss.
the perfect
We
outro.
did miss the 3-way high five.
Pause.